HarperCollins presents The Last House on the Cliff by Anne Wynne Clark, read by Gloria Sanders. Chapter 1. The first time I ever laid eyes on a dead person, I was 6 years old, and then it was never meant to happen. Growing up, I was never fazed by death. For me, it had been a natural part of my not entirely conventional upbringing. My summers, and indeed every school holiday until the age of 12, were spent in Anglesey, in North Wales, in the care and company of my slightly eccentric but kind-hearted Auntie Gwyn. And Auntie Gwyn owned a funeral home. It did not occur to me at the time that it was an unusual thing for my parents to pack me off at every opportunity. Thinking back now, there was no earthly reason, other than the fact they didn't want me around, for them to send me away as they did. It dawned on me later that I was something of a burden to them, my mum in particular, my presence an unfortunate inconvenience. To feel unwanted as a child has a lasting effect, and it has definitely moulded the person I am today. T. Coed Pinwith was an imposing grey stone building, built, as far as I'm aware, at some point during the 18th century. It stood alone and somewhat aloof, the last house on the narrow road to the cliffs, the periphery to the rear teetering dangerously close to the crag and the sheer drop to the rocks beneath. The approach was set back from the main road behind low, wrought-iron gates, which opened from the centre of a sturdy stone wall. The property itself was surrounded on 3 sides by a large lawn flanked by a copse of tall pines, a natural windbreak to shield it from the exposed grassy headland that stretched into the distance. From when I was tiny, I remember being warned, time and again, never to venture from the confines of the garden, and moreover the screen of pine trees concealing the precipitous cliffs beyond. Often I would play in the enclosed walled area to the rear of the house, entered via an old ivy-covered wooden gate beneath an arch. It was tucked into the right-hand corner, and I always liked to think of it as a secret garden, like the one in the children's book. There was a tool shed, and herbs, and vegetables grew in neatly tended rows, providing much of the food served at mealtimes. From here, the sound of waves breaking on the rocks could be heard on a still day, but the swaying sea of foliage visible above the wall provided an effective barrier much of the time, and it was easy to forget about the cliffs that lay on the other side. On a marble pedestal in the centre of the immaculate turf of the main garden, a fountain surrounded the statue of a small angel, its head bowed in prayer. The gravel drive led to a turning circle before the large oak front door, which was accessed through a glass-fronted and rather incongruous 12th century veranda. A ferocious lion's head holding the brass door-knocker between its gaping jaws. The fanlight above was etched with the name of the property in gold capitals. The deceased, that Auntie Gwyn and her workforce referred to with such reverence, I did not realise initially that they were, in fact, people who were no longer in the land of the living, would arrive concealed from prying eyes by the blacked-out windows of a private ambulance, and be whisked through to the back of the house and into the mysterious preparation room, the large handwritten sign on its sliding doors declaring it strictly out of bounds to anyone below the age of 16, installed, no doubt, for my benefit. Here, I would learn in time, the dead were washed and dressed, and made as presentable as they could be under the circumstances, before being put into refrigerators until grieving relatives came to pay them one final emotional visit in the little chapel of rest at the back of the property. Or there were those poor unfortunates without family or friends to mourn them, that were dispatched post-haste to the local chapel for a quiet and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?